Can I ask why everybody's looking at me?
We're about to play with your head.
What the?
You just cut all of us.
Yeah.
Can I have your table?
No.
Let the games begin.
What the F?
You're gonna love this.
Aw, man.
Why is this guy flipping out?
You're gonna be that.
Why are these people walking in circles?
People do it and they don't even know why they're doing it.
And this one is blind to what's right in front of him.
When you're on a cell phone, are you especially handicapped?
I don't remember seeing a clown.
Because their brains are making them do it, whether they know it or not.
Did you take some money?
No.
In fact, you'll be shocked to discover
Oh man, where'd you do with the hat?
Yo, there's a snake in this tree.
how your brain is manipulating you,
It can actually cause them to see things that aren't even there.
pushing you,
It's a bedpan.
twisting you,
My heart's still beating like really fast.
making you do things you never expected.
Oh, my head.
Our hidden cameras take you behind the scenes and inside your head to reveal the surprising ways we are all hardwired.
Oh, jeez.
So get ready.
Stop! Stop!
Really? Really?
It's time to play head games. Watch the image on your screen very closely. What do you see? Two red balls passing through each other. But now, when we add one simple sound, something's different, right? Now, the balls seem to be bouncing off each other. That's because when we change the information given to your brain in turn changes your perception of the world. Perception is how we see, taste, and feel our world, and it's all controlled by our brain. But in modern times, we're bombarded with sights and sounds nearly every waking minute. With so much to take in, our brain automatically ditches the clutter and perceives only what's important. To show you how this works in a real-world situation, we've enlisted the help of illusionist Matthew Holtzclaw.
Perception is about how we see the world. We think our eyes can't be fooled, but our eyes are fooled every day. The eyes are the easiest part of the body to deceive. Magic is about exploiting the little gaps in our perception and little things that you don't notice.
Did you notice anything?
Perception is about how we see the world.
Matt's jacket changed in the middle of his sentence. If you didn't notice, you're like most. Your own brain tricked you with something called change blindness. We become blind to what our brain considers to be insignificant changes. But just how blind are we? We've set up an experiment in a motorcycle shop to find out. Matt will play the part of an ordinary salesman, but as he tends to each customer, he will change his appearance several times. Will they notice the changes? Particularly when he goes from this to this to this. Our hidden cameras will catch everything our subjects' brains let slip by.
Roll sound.
Matt approaches our first unsuspecting subject.
Excuse me, sir.
At first, it's just a normal conversation between the customer and what appears to be a recently injured salesman asking him to fill out a survey.
You been to the motorcycle mall before?
Take note of Matt's accessories: a neck brace, an eye patch, and a hat. A planned distraction allows Matt to make his first change.
That's midlife crisis.
Yeah, no, the deal is, what we're trying to do with this stuff is that we're trying to have people just kind of answer us, like, what kind of motorcycles do you use, how long have you been riding? Do you mind filling a little survey for us?
Sure.
Incredible. Matt just went from being a victim in a neck brace to a man unrestrained. And our subject didn't even blink.
Put your name, put your phone, put your email.
When he's distracted again, Matt makes another move.
Okay. And, take your time and...
He slides his eye patch to the other eye. The subject? He just keeps on talking.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
No confusion, no concern, no suspicion. Okay, cue the next distraction.
Yeah. It's adding something. You working? No, I don't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, all right, cool.
What else?
And when did you start writing? One more thing too, if you want to see the Vespas, there's a whole section of them. Actually, I don't know if you're looking for a new one, if you're looking for something bigger, but there's a whole section of like the different Vespas.
No, I'm gonna go to the big bike. I want to go to a big bike. I have no idea. Oh, no,
I'm sorry. This is where I work. The restroom's around the corner over there.
Okay, thanks.
Double X.
That's because you know the whole thing with the Vantamans.
Wow, this guy might not notice if his girlfriend moved out of the house.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I gotta ask you, do you know anything different about me from when we first started, from when I first started talking to you? Is anything different?
There is something a little different.
You might know. I mean, I had a hat on.
You had a hat, yeah. What'd you do with the hat?
Then I had a neck brace on, you know, and I had an arm brace.
Oh man, what did you do with the neck brace?
I had an eye patch. But you see it now, right?
Yeah, now I see it.
This happens in all of our brains. This happens all the time. You know?
Everybody's brain's like this because I'm not the only one because it's embarrassing.
10 minutes ago, our sales clerk, who looked like this, now looks like this.
You work here? No. Did you see the hat switch?
No.
You notice anything? Like, what do you notice is different?
Nothing, I don't know.
Nothing really?
Not really. I didn't see you do that.
Okay.
No.
I think it's kind of crazy that you really don't notice.
You don't notice it?
You don't really notice like what's actually like happening around you. Kind of take your environment for granted, like things aren't going to change.
Yeah, right.
You know, you walk in, you see something, and that's just the way it is. You don't really realize that things can constantly change and move around you.
One after another, our subjects are blindsided by their brains. Okay, why do our brains find it necessary to trick us? We see 30 to 40 objects every second. If your brain tried to process all that equally, your head would probably explode. So your brain chooses what's important based on the context of the situation. In this case, the small changes to the salesman's appearance are irrelevant.
I had a neck brace.
Yep.
That's not here anymore.
Nope.
I had a hat, and that went away. Eye patch switched a bunch of times.
Okay.
I had an arm brace. That went away. Do you notice the arm brace at all? There's a lot of different ways.
There's one thing we didn't call attention to yet. In every experiment, Matt changed from a black shirt to a red shirt.
There's like a lot of different, like...
None of our subjects noticed. Did you?
Now that you mention it, no.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no difference, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Change blindness proves the existence of fundamental gaps in our everyday perception.
It went about exactly how I expected. I was happy with it. I was surprised by people who didn't see anything.
The brain is designed to focus on what we think is important and filter out all the junk. In fact, change blindness is a good thing.
What?
Yeah.
And it often keeps us from going insane.
Are you serious?
It was an epic fail.
It was an epic success, man.
For you guys, not for me.
We're going to prove to you just how blind humans can be.
Yeah, you think I would have seen him, huh?
You may hate clowns, but you'd notice one crossing your path, wouldn't you?
I don't remember seeing a clown.
And later, what really determines taste?
Right here we have cherry-looking Jell-O, which actually is lemon.
Your tongue or your eyes?
This one's cherry.
When it comes to perception, we often miss the small things. But your brain wouldn't block out something big, right? Something strange and obviously out of place? Or would it?
So everybody has a limited amount of attentional capacity, and things that divide our attention make it worse.
In our next experiment, we turn our hidden cameras on a college campus. Will our brains perceive something that totally doesn't belong in an academic setting? Meet our clown, Bobo. It seems like everybody notices Bobo. But look again. There's a whole group of people who don't see Bobo the clown. Who? The people talking on their cell phones. But why? Evolutionary neurobiologist Mark Changizi is out to prove that talking on a cell phone is a distraction that short-circuits your perception.
We're going to be testing what's called inattentional blindness. Inattentional blindness is where people don't see obvious things in their environment by virtue of the fact that their attention is drawn to some other facet of the environment. And the question is, when you're on a cell phone, are you especially handicapped at your ability to notice something as obvious as a clown on a unicycle?
To see what happens, let's follow Bobo. He rides right next to this woman, but doesn't catch her attention. Same for this woman. Well, he is kind of sneaking up on them. Maybe they just can't see him. Then again, this guy looks like he wouldn't even notice a spaceship landing in his path. The guy's so unaware, it's hard not to call him a bozo. How in the world are people missing something so blatantly out of place?
A helpful way to view attention is as if it's a spotlight that focuses on the events around you. And so when you're on the cell phone, even though it's only sounds that you're hearing, that spotlight is now focused on that and is now unable to see other sorts of environmental consequences around you, like unicycling clowns.
Okay, round 2. Let's give our subjects a fighting chance to see Bobo. Here comes a smart-looking, self-aware guy on his cell phone. Send in the clown. Bobo's 20 yards away, directly in his line of sight. Our subject's got plenty of time to see him. Does he see him? Not for a second.
Is there anything unusual that you may have seen?
No.
How about a clown?
I don't remember seeing a clown.
Well, let me introduce you to Justin over here. Justin.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry I didn't notice you.
Hey, it's okay. It happens.
How about this guy in the blue t-shirt on a cell? What does it take to get him to see Bobo? Bobo rides by once, twice, 3 times? Nope. 4 times Bobo pedals by. Even when Mr. Blue T-shirt is just sitting on the steps, Bobo might as well be invisible. This is a textbook example of inattentional blindness.
Yeah, you think I would have seen him, huh? I believe I wasn't as focused as I would have been if I weren't on the cell phone. However, if there were a hot chick walking by me, I definitely would have seen that.
Well, there's the next experiment to try. You might think that you shouldn't miss anything because you're not visually occupied by the person on the phone. This is, of course, not your handicap. It's our handicap. It happens to all of us. And, in fact, the illusion is happening right now. We're all concentrated on this event right here. And yet, in each of our eyesights beyond this crowd, there's all these other stuff that are happening that we've completely tuned out.
So when your mind is occupied, your perception is significantly reduced. It's all fun and games on a college campus. But what about behind the wheel of a car? Guess what? According to the National Safety Council, talking on a cell phone is almost as dangerous as driving drunk. Nearly 25% of all car crashes now involve a driver distracted by his cell phone. So, we've proven that when you use a cell phone, your perception is manipulated. But what about when other people use their cell phones around you?
Well, what if it's a truck? Is that going to be rough?
Watch this scene. There are 2 conversations going on at once.
So do you want to
the power
go to the
goes out,
dealership
right?
tomorrow and take a look
In the middle
at
of a
some
performance.
more trucks?
And we find out
I thought we were
today.
going to see minivans.
Because there's 2 guys in the
Yes,
basement
we can see
of the
mini.
building.
Yeah, we can see minivans.
Good, okay. But
Because they're trying to
I want it
rob
to be
the
red.
Which of the 2 conversations do you remember better? The couple or the man on the cell phone? 95% of the people who watch this clip pick the man on the cell phone. So what's going on here? It makes more sense to listen to the couple because you can hear the entire conversation. No point in dealing with the cell man at all, right?
Everybody knows that listening to cell phone conversations is annoying, but there's something else happening in the brain at the same time.
Husband and wife team Stephen Machnick and Susana Martinez Conde of the Barrow Neurological Institute in Arizona are experts on attention and the brain. They already know that being on a cell phone blinds you to events around you. Now, they want to see if your perception of the world changes when someone else is on a cell phone within earshot.
What we're doing today is an experiment to examine the interaction between perception and attention.
Our researchers have invited people to a furniture shop, allegedly to test some new products. And we've planted some actors to stir the pot. The first stage is easy. Assemble a small piece of furniture in quiet, with no distractions. They all finished within the estimated build time listed on the directions, about 10 minutes. Now, our first distraction, an ordinary conversation. A little too loud maybe, but nothing too unusual.
Nice sandwich would be good right now.
Yeah, I really would. Craving like whole wheat bread. Be really satisfying. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like you're eating something.
Been having a lot of traffic problems lately.
Jeez.
Actually, he finished 20 seconds faster than his original time. And all the subjects did just as well. The 2-way conversation didn't bother anybody.
Well, I mean, I heard they're actors.
Now one of our actors is going to improvise a call on her cell phone.
No.
It'll be no louder than the two-way conversation.
No, that's crazy. 45 minutes or an hour? No, if I said that, I was exaggerating. I'm saying it because I do know.
As always, with a cell phone, you'll only be able to hear one side of the conversation. Instead of a dialogue, it's what Stephen Macknick calls a half-a-log.
No.
So this is the very first test of what we call the half-a-log experiment. Instead of a conversation happening, a cell phone conversation, but they can only hear half of it.
The half-a-log is so draining to our attentional resources because our brain cares the most about information that it cannot predict. In a normal conversation, we can listen to both parts, we can see where the conversation is going. But in the half-a-log, we're forced to fill in the gaps, and this overtaxes our brain.
This is the guy that made it feel more crowded. No, I was just by myself and I was waiting for Bob, and then
The half-a-log turns out to be a distraction this guy can't ignore.
And then I moved, and he, like, followed me.
He's paying attention to her. He's actually glancing over at her as she has her conversation. And it's starting to be, it's a bit of a drain on him.
Oh my God, why does he do stuff like that?
The cell call seriously messes with his time, which increases by 2 minutes, and with his head.
Nobody's annoyed by that?
I just kind of thought about how self-absorbed the person was to be constantly talking between two other people. You know, she said, wait, did he come in? And I'm like, no, he came in. Of course he came in, you know? Are you not listening? You're not paying attention?
I know, I'm saying...
What's happening here? Their brains are going haywire. With some people, their time almost doubled. Here's our final subject. With no distractions, she built a piece of furniture at the average time.
No, I was at Vern's last night.
She's just going on and on, yada, yada, yada. And it's clearly having an effect.
Yeah, exactly. You know, good for her. Better things to do than do that.
Suddenly, the stool is proving to be a task as daunting as the pyramids. 10 minutes, and it's still in pieces.
She's making faces. She obviously has a lot going on in her head right now. There. She looked at the subject. She's clearly annoyed by the actor. She just gave her a really dirty look.
No, I mean after.
17 minutes, and she's still not finished.
I noticed you looked in her direction a couple of times. What were you thinking?
I was thinking that the conversation seemed really catty. Just kind of like, okay, back to work. But I tried to tune her out and try to concentrate on this as much as I could.
Her brain in particular is extremely distracted by the half-a-log playing out behind her. She's getting too little information to make sense of it.
No, that's crazy.
We've tested what we don't see. Next, we are testing the power of what we do see. Particularly, how a woman looking like this, and then like this, will attract radically different attention.
You can get anything you want, girl.
And later, cheap wine gets a makeover, leading to some reactions that are truly sobering.
Oh my God, that's good.
Is your brain ready for a little workout? It's not a tough one. There isn't even any thinking involved. Now, stare at the dot in the middle, then we'll make the color disappear. Keep staring. Hang on. When the photo switched to black and white, did you still see color? That's because your brain is struggling to adjust to the change. And for just a moment, it failed. When faced with sudden changes in your environment, your brain races to adapt. If it lags behind, the brain will keep sending the old signals until it catches up. There are signals everywhere that influence our perception of the world around us, but no signal is as pervasive as color. Color is everywhere.
About 50% of our brain is involved in vision, which makes vision one of the most important, if not the most important, sense that we have. And it's also true about color.
Today, neuroscientist Mark Changizi has set up an experiment to test just how much color affects our judgment.
I'm Mark. Nice to meet you.
And what's the color causing the most varied and powerful reactions? Red.
The new dimension of color vision that we have that the other mammals don't have is the ability to see red. And it's due to the oxygenation of blood and the modulations of it. You have the ability to signal red. And the degree to which you can signal red skin during a fight is an honest signal of how oxygenated and how powerful you in fact are.
At the 2004 Olympics, researchers studied combat sports like wrestling and taekwondo. Incredibly, athletes wearing red were victorious more than 3/4 of the time. Coincidence? Your brain thinks not. To see how hardwired our response to color is and how it affects our perception, we've invited several test subjects to the gym who nearly have to decide which boxer they'd rather fight. The one in the red or the one in the blue? Who would you rather fight?
The red shorts, the red gloves, and the red helmet will be implicitly signaling that he's strong, he's ready to fight.
If you were to fight one of them today, which one would you rather fight?
The one in the blue. Just the intensity just doesn't look, real. He just doesn't look like he has it.
I'd go with him, guy on the left.
I would go with the guy in the blue for sure. If I was gonna have to get beat up by one of them, it might be a little less painful.
And like clockwork, every guy chose to fight the man in blue. Who do you pick? Or rather, run away from?
All of this stuff that I'm telling you about may be going on below your radar. It doesn't mean that you're conscious of any of this, but it nevertheless affects you. And colors of all kinds may be affecting us in many other ways which we're not aware of.
Red is clearly a very powerful signal of strength and vitality. But there's another side to the color red, a sexier side. In fact, red has the same power to attract as it does to intimidate. Don't believe it? Check out this hidden camera experiment. We've hired an actress to stroll down a busy sidewalk. We want to see how many men take notice of her. At first, she's wearing a white dress. Let's see how many heads she can turn. It's been 10 minutes, and she still hasn't attracted any attention. A lady in white seems to blend right in. 20 minutes, and finally a head turner. After 30 minutes, she's received just a handful of obvious stares. Nothing like what you'd expect. Now our actress is putting on a duplicate dress. The only thing different is the color. Now it's red. Will our male subjects be more inclined to look? Survey says, right away we get a head turn. Then another, and another, and another. And take a look at this guy. One look, and he is quite literally falling all over himself. Remember, this is the same girl, same street, same dress. But it's as if she were a whole different person. In the same amount of time, she has received more than triple the number of stares. You may be thinking, of course she got more attention. Red is a bright, noticeable color, and that's true. Red's an attention grabber, but there's a deeper shade of influence at work here. A recent study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology revealed that men believe women wearing red are more receptive to sexual advances. And no, it doesn't have to be red lingerie. It can be as simple as a plain red t-shirt. As long as the shirt is red, it has the same effect. But why does red have such a powerful effect on our senses? The answer can be found in a baboon's butt. Yes, it goes back to our simian cousins. Female apes redden during mating season, and that powerful sexual signal remains buried in our brains to this day. So we've proven men notice red more, but will it make them more likely to help a stranger? Let the color wars begin. Our actress is back on the same block in her white dress, and now she's going to ask random men for $1. How will our subjects react to a panhandling woman in a white dress?
Hi, excuse me, do you have $1?
I'm sorry, I don't have any change. So.
Okay, thanks. Excuse me, do you have $1?
Sorry, I don't.
Excuse me, do you have $1? Do you have $1?
Oh, sorry, I don't. Sorry.
Do you have $1?
I don't. Sorry.
No one seems to have time for a woman in white. They barely give her the time of day.
Excuse me, do you have $1?
At the end of the test, only 8 out of 50 men gave her $1. Now, let's swap the implied purity of white for the implied allure of red.
Excuse me, do you have $1?
$1?
Yeah. I was gonna get a bottle of water and I left my purse upstairs.
As soon as our actress changes into red, a whole new world opens up for her.
Excuse me, do you have $1?
Do I have $1?
Yeah.
Sure.
I was gonna get a bottle of water and I left my purse up in my office.
Well, you know, how can I refuse a beautiful woman?
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Can I actually, it might be $2 or $2.50 or something.
Some are even offering up more than she's asking for.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, do you have $1?
Yes, I do.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It's gonna be more than $1.
Oh, thank you, too. Thank you. Oh, in dimes. That's great. Awesome. Thank you. Excuse me. Do you have $1? Do you have $1?
$1?
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
trying to get a bottle of water and I left my purse upstairs.
That's a nice dress you got on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you mind if I take a look?
Thanks.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're gonna turn me around?
And this guy doesn't just give her money, he takes her out for a spin. Out of 50 men, a staggering 38 ponied up cash for the lady in red.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
So this got us thinking. If the color red really is this powerful and has so great an influence over our perception, what else could it make men do?
Hi. Excuse me. My friend Sue is across the street. Will you just, and I lost my voice, but will you just yell? She's like, her back is turned with the boots.
With polka dots?
Yeah.
Sue?
Just like yell, Sue.
Sue! Sue Stevens! Oh! Sue Stevens!
You're
Sue
so good.
Stevens!
You have such a good yell.
Sue Stevens! Sue Stevens! Sue!
Yeah, that's good.
So these guys made fools of themselves for the lady in red. Now, will others come to her rescue?
Excuse me. Hi, I'm just trying to get across the street and I sprained my ankle. Can you just help me across the street?
Our actress feigns a sprained ankle, then asks a guy to help her across the street.
We can
Can
go.
I carry you?
Can you?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's no problem. This is a fun experience.
It's a New York experience.
Oh, yeah. Damsel in distress at a whole new level.
Thank you so much. It's that way.
Now, this guy's mother would be proud.
What's your name?
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Under the influence of the color red, he goes above and beyond the call of duty.
If you wouldn't mind carrying me,
I think I can handle that.
that would be easier. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
And like sheep, or frankly like men, everyone falls in line. Our actress got the money, made dozens of men scream in public, and was carried across the street like a damsel. And that's the power of red in action.
This is nice. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Coming up, our taste buds are no match for the practical jokes launched by our eyes and brains.
Is that like chicken milk? What is this?
A sizzling steak just off the grill and potatoes fried perfectly crisp. Hungry? How about now? Come on, dig in. Our next experiment is based on a study from Marketing Magazine confirming a deep evolutionary link between food and color. Participants dined on steak and fries served in a specially lit room. When the lighting changed, revealing plates of blue meat and green potatoes, they all began to gag. Can it be that changing the known color of a food is all it takes to change our perception of how it tastes?
We taste first with our eyes. We know that making something look good is going to make somebody like a lot more.
Brian Wan-Sing teaches at Cornell University and is an expert on our visual perceptions of food.
Taste is tremendously subjective. We essentially taste what we think we're going to taste. It's not our taste buds, and it's not the smell that ends up influencing a lot of what goes on. It's our brain. We think something's going to taste great. We're going to look for those characteristics that make it great.
At a diner serving the things we've all grown up with, Wan-Sing intends to prove that how we enjoy our food depends on how we look at it. To test his theory, we've asked random subjects to join us for taste testing.
Well, grab a seat here. Sure.
We believe that the color of these foods will trump their brain's taste perception.
First thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be giving them some Jell-O to taste. Now, right here we have kind of raspberry or cherry-looking Jell-O, which actually is lemon. What we suspect is that simply seeing that red is going to make people conjure up all sorts of ideas about cherries and raspberries and things like this, and actually taste what they see.
Seeing red, these people expect the Jell-O flavor will be berry. So they should react as soon as the lemon flavor hits their taste buds, right?
How would you describe the taste?
Really sweet, like cherry flavored.
It's not watermelon, is it?
This one's cherry.
How do you describe that flavor?
Kind of like either a berry or cherry.
The eyes have it, and the tongues are lagging. Regardless of the real taste, red coloring made every customer believe that they were tasting cherry or berry. How can this be? Here's some food for thought. We owe our sense of taste to this part of the brain, the visual cortex, in our occipital lobe. This area, where sight and color receptors are found, evolved eons ago into our greatest judge of taste. Why? Survival. Color tells us if food is ripe or rancid, healthy or harmful. In fact, we only eat things that our visual cortex recognizes and approves. Let's see how that defense mechanism kicks in when our unsuspecting patrons encounter a perfectly wholesome drink that's been made to look like something drained from a wound.
Let's take a look at milk. Two exact same versions of milk, except this one has a little bit of food coloring in it.
Green milk. It tastes fine, but looks like a chemical drive-through shake on St. Patrick's Day. How will our subjects react?
Not what I was expecting.
Real milk. Here you go.
Are you kidding? What is that? Is that like
milk.
chicken milk? What is this? Really? Okay, it doesn't smell as bad as it looks, but I don't want to drink that.
Okay. It just doesn't look like milk.
This is like what an alien would be telling me that milk looks like. Yeah, I'd probably tell him I was full.
At first, every subject refused to take a sip. Even after Brian confirmed it was just regular milk.
I promise won't hurt you. All right.
Finally, he convinces them to give it a try.
Really taste it?
Bottoms up.
You'll live, I promise.
It tastes like milk, but it's still disgusting me just because of the color.
It just doesn't feel right. I feel my mouth wanting to reject it before it even gets in there.
I mean, there's like an aftertaste to it.
This experiment just proved that we taste with our eyes.
If something was spoiling, it looks a little bit strange, that perception still are tremendous drivers of whether we're going to like a food or we're not.
This experiment got us thinking. If we can make people dislike a drink just by changing its color, how far can we manipulate what the brain loves and hates? In other words, if we change the packaging, can a box of bottom shelf wine be sold as a top shelf bottle of red?
Wow, that tastes good.
And later,
Why is it you worry so much? What are you worried about?
hidden cameras reveal how our body language gives away our deepest secrets. So you walk into a diner and the hostess gives you two menus. Riddle me this. Which would you order? Jamon croquettes or ham and cheese poppers? North Atlantic cod or fish fillet? You've already seen how we're influenced by color, but presentation also has a major impact on our choices. A 6-week cafeteria study found that vivid labels increase sales and influence a customer's opinion about the quality of the food. And it's not just restaurant owners that are on to how our brain works. Advertising and marketing agencies are truly masters at manipulating perception.
Marketing plays a big role in our taste, too. Marketers end up using colors and sort of what they put in packaging to make us believe it's going to taste richer or more distinctive than what their competitors are going to do.
Bombarded with choices, how often have you decided on a bottle of wine just because you like the label? Did that wine really taste better to you because the label had an appealing design? Sure it did. And to show the true dominance of our visual cortex, we'll have people belly up to the bar for a wine tasting that turns decidedly sideways. To pull off this experiment, food expert Brian Wansink has created two labels. One looks cheap and is called Red Tooth. The other looks expensive and has a sophisticated French name. The two bottles will be filled with the exact same wine. And to add insult to injury, it's straight from a box. Let's see what happens when Juan Sink asks the diners to taste the two seemingly different wines.
Got a 2009 bottle of Red Tooth wine.
Okay.
Remember, this label is screaming, "I'm cheap and lousy."
It's kind of bitter.
Oh boy. We'll come back to him in a minute.
What's the most you'd be willing to pay for something like that?
For a bottle of this Red Tooth?
Yeah.
To be honest, probably like $10.
Tastes like kind of bad, pretty stale, pretty flavorless. Not much going on.
They all felt that the Red Tooth was a cheap wine, just as we expected. Now that we've established a baseline for their palates, we bring in the coup de grace, the wine pretending to be from a vineyard in France. Remember, this is the exact same wine that was in the bottle of Red Tooth, and it's all really from a box.
This is the Chateau de Napoleon. It's from Burgundy.
Here I go. Wow, that tastes good.
How do you describe that?
It's very smooth, but it's also complex and aged, cultured, handled with care, if you will. It's just very satisfying.
He's using every technique he's ever seen in a TV movie.
A little bit heavier. It has a nicer palate to it, especially than that last one.
So, you know, this one's the best of them all.
So compare this one and
this
the first
one, much smoother. Less of an alcohol bitterness to it.
And thanks to the right labeling, our box wine has become this guy's true religion.
Oh my God, that's good. Oh yeah.
How would you describe that?
That's the best wine I've ever tasted.
It's just as Brian suspected. Everyone believed the imposter French wine tasted better. Not because of the actual taste, but because the label made it appear to be something it isn't. And when the truth is revealed, we get some truly vintage responses.
So this is actually the same wine in two different bottles.
No.
Really,
Get out. That cannot be the same wine. That was outstanding. This was forgettable.
Oh my God.
So actually, it is about $3.99 a bottle. This is the exact same wine, boxed wine, in bottles with different labels. Why do you think the labels trip you up so much?
Probably the label list on that one looked a lot more expensive looking than this bottle of wine, and that's why I just thought maybe that would taste better.
Coming up, do people reveal themselves without saying a single word?
Do you see where his elbows were out? Something's bothering him.
Let's see how much your body reveals without your knowing it. What do you see here? Marriage material for your daughter? Look again. It takes just a millisecond to receive information and try to make sense of it. Sometimes we're wrong. Your daughter will probably verify that. Your brain is still hardwired the way it was in prehistoric times, constantly reading the nonverbal cues of posture and attitude.
We now know that first impressions are probably made in the first 10 to 12 seconds.
Meet Joe Navarro, one of the world's leading experts in how to interpret the body's nonverbal cues and come away with an accurate perception of other people.
We're perceiving the world around us all day long. We just don't really pay a lot of attention to it. How we dress, how we behave, how we walk, how we gesture is really based on our brain.
We're going to a restaurant with Navarro to study how the brain causes your body to reveal your feelings, whether you know it or not. With hidden cameras in place, Joe spots two men just outside the diner.
If you can focus on his hand.
He also spots body language indicating a brain under stress.
This gentleman over here, he's doing this. He's pacifying. And over you see him playing with his ring, touching his fingers.
But as Joe tries to determine what's stressing this guy out, he reveals another important clue.
He just gestured, and he gestured very broadly. Usually we only see that with people who are either in charge or they think they're in charge.
Can this bundle of nerves really be somebody's man in charge? Joe investigates in person.
Why is it you worry so much? What are you worried about?
There are a couple of things. I'm in the middle of re-election right now.
Okay. So you're a politician?
Yeah, I'm a mayor of Teaneck.
Okay.
So this man is a mayor and definitely someone in charge. But with his job on the line, it makes sense for him to be stressed out. Joe's evaluation was right on the money. Let's see what he can tell us about another pair of diners. These two women are having a quiet lunch. So quiet, they're barely talking to each other. According to Joe, it may not be what we amateurs think.
You can see that they're relaxed around each other. And we say, well, but they're not talking very much. Well, here's what's interesting. We don't often have to talk much when we're around people that we're comfortable.
Is Joe right? Let's go down and get the answer.
We worked together.
And we raised our children together.
Yes, so our boys were involved in sports together.
Well, it's almost like a family.
Right.
So Joe is right. Your brain reveals your private information by the way your body expresses itself. And with an expert like Joe reading your signals, it's hard to hide anything.
We evolved to react to the world principally. And in fact, part of our brain, the limbic system, reacts to the world automatically without really doing a lot of high-level thinking.
Let's see if you can profile what's going on with this couple.
Hello.
Hi. We've been dating for over 2.5 years.
Is there something about the environment that has made you somewhat tense?
It's just quiet in here, and when places are quiet, it makes me nervous.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
You were looking around, you know, there was a lot of pacifying behaviors, but then you joined into a very cordial conversation. We didn't see a lot of touching. We didn't see a lot of preening of each other's behaviors, but that sometimes happens with couples that have been together for so long.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Your brain is constantly working to make sense of the world, even with constant distractions and manipulations. And sometimes that means not seeing a man transform right in front of you, or being compelled to carry a woman in red across the street, or even being blind to a clown on a unicycle. And while not seeing Bobo may be disappointing, you'll survive. And in the end, that is all your brain cares about.